Okay, so we just talked about the to be verbs and we've gone over the tenses, right? And let's remember that tenses really refer to the time. And what happens to the verb itself or around the verb that changes the verb based on the tense, right, the time, is the aspect of the verb, okay? And so then we have things that are called like the simple aspect or the progressive aspect or the perfect aspect, right? And so the aspect is really simple, progressive, and future, whereas the tenses are really like referring more to the time. It kind of gets a little murky, so that's really not as important. And a lot of people will just say tense when they're meaning aspect, so we don't really need to overly concern ourselves with that. What we need to do is just look at, I erased my letter there. We need to look at the way that the verb functions in the progressive tense, okay? So let's take the present tense first, or the simple aspect of the verb first, and then we'll do the progressive aspect. So remember, we have I walk, right? And I will walk. And remember that when we do things in the future, it requires the simple future, right? It requires the helping verb will, right? I will walk, or she will walk, or she will talk, or she will run, or she will play, or I will play, right? Almost always, in fact, well, I'm never going to say always. So almost always uses that helping verb. Now, in the past is what? I walked. And remember, walk is a regular verb, so it doesn't do anything weird, like change the vowel sounds, or change the spelling, or change the entire word, right? So these are what we call regular verbs, and they're done in like the simple aspect. Now we'll do the progressive. So the progressive aspect is what? It shows progression. It shows continuous, right? The action is continuous. It's ongoing. And so sometimes people will call it the continuous aspect, but most people call it progressive, so we're not going to confuse ourselves with a change of term now. So I think continuous is better fitting, but we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to worry about the progressive aspect, right? So I walk, present. Now, usually when we have to do progressive aspects, we put the ing right there. So ing is always really connected to the progressive, okay? So what do we do for present? I am walking, right? I am walking. Notice how we have to put this little guy in there when we use the progressive, right? And we have to do it here. Remember, this is the to be. So this is I will be walking, right? And then in the past, it is I was. I was walking, right? So when you're talking about it in the past, it was an action that was ongoing for a period of time in the past. So it wasn't just it wasn't just a one-time thing, right? It was something that you were doing as something else happened, or at a specific moment in your life. So it was I was walking when I heard her cry. Okay? Or I will be walking to get to the store, or I will be walking when I go to the park, or I will be walking when I'm in the parade, or whatever. And in the present, I am walking. I am walking right now. I am walking. I'm not actually walking. I am sitting. I am sitting right now. Sit. Sit. Not a regular verb because you didn't sit it, right? I sitted. I sitted down. Nah, you sat down. Okay. So progressive is pretty simple, right? It's just really a lot of these INGs here and requiring a helping verb or two, right? This is one helping verb. It's a modal auxiliary verb, but we don't need to worry about those terms. And this here, of course, is our lovely and flexible to be verb, be. All right, now let's talk about perfect, my favorite tense.